but you can't seem to grasp what you're doing to me. No regrets, I confess that you're not what I need. So come on, can't you see it's all just a show? What you think I'll ever know? But it's not like you knew. You just do what you do and you don't have a clue. And you don't know.
That was Captain's Courageous' new single, Calling You Out. They will have a show at Cicero's at 7 p.m. for $10 on July 22nd, and they will be the headliners there. They will also have a show at Firebird on September 16th with Austin Jones at 6:30 p.m. for $20. They also have a brand new album in the works. We're super excited to hear it, guys. Keep up the great work. And a special guest, my first co-host I will be introducing is Haley Fields.
Hey guys.
And then we have Kenzie Heritage.
Hi.
And then we have our special guest, co-founder of Implying We Can Discuss Life, Dominic Brandt.
It's a pleasure.
No problem, Dominic. We love having you on.
Oh,
so,
stop.
This week we will be discussing our favorite movies, and in Kenzie's case, her list of objective best movies of all time, which I differ in opinion. I'm a little bit more modest with my list. I like to say it's my favorite list of all time rather than the objective list. Do you guys think your list is more objective or subjective? I thought it was like her mother. I don't. It's
No, that was Alien. No, that was like Alien Resurrection.
Was it?
Yeah, that's like that's the bad.
Oh, okay. So I've seen Aliens, and I've seen parts of Aliens.
Aliens is good. Aliens is it's a more of a sci-fi epic than it is a sci-fi horror movie.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
So it's
Of
but
course,
they're both.
but I thought she was
They go
a
hand
mother
in hand.
figure in
Oh, but
Alien.
Alien,
I didn't think that was an alien.
Right.
Second is on my list is Annie Hall. I'm such a sucker for Woody Allen. If anyone who's in the group is listening.
Oh, okay, that's what you're
parents.
meaning.
Over the past 2 months.
Yeah, I didn't know who Woody Allen was until I watched Hunger Games.
No way.
No, shit. Are you kidding me?
No, I had literally no idea who he was until I watched Hunger Games, and then I was like, yeah, I like him.
That's Woody Harrelson.
Oh shit, I'm ridiculous.
Yeah.
Wow,
I
that's
was
gonna.
wondering what the connection was with the Hunger
I was
Games.
like, wait, was Woody Allen?
No, yeah, Woody Allen
I
was
figured there was
definitely
like something that like remind you.
right.
I was trying to figure that out. Okay.
That is fantastic.
Wow, no.
No,
You can-
I'd say the Woody Allen movie most people have seen is probably Midnight in Paris.
I haven't seen it.
Oh my
I
god.
haven't seen the
That
one
almost-
either.
Yeah, it's good. Annie Hall was like, I mean, there were a bunch of rom-coms before it, but Annie Hall was the first one where like the main guy wasn't a strapping, 30s
Wow.
punk. He was, a quirky, neurotic individual who, he was lucky to get the girl. The girl was lucky to get him, and you kind of empathize with him because it was somebody that we all knew a guy like this.
So it was kind of like a Big Bang before Big Bang Theory.
Ooh, don't say I hate that show. But it's great. It recently, I can't remember if it was Time or if it was another magazine, awarded it the funniest screenplay of all time, which is perfect because Woody Allen at his absolute core is a writer. So, and that's what sells this movie. It's a screenplay. I mean, it's the third one on my list is Prometheus. Everyone strap in for this one.
Another Alien. Well, I guess it's technically Alien.
Yeah, prequel.
Yeah.
And it's Ridley Scott. I think it's my second Ridley Scott movie on this list. It's wonderful. This movie is like the pinnacle of symbolism for movies for me. I love how much it challenges Darwinism and Christianity and so many different religions, bringing tiny sci-fi elements to all of it. And Ridley Scott drew on Paradise Lost whenever he made this. He drew on Lovecraft's At the Mountains of Madness, and it's just it's it's so wonderful, and it relies on practical effects, which is insanely refreshing for me in a world where we're just, CGI overloaded, essentially.
It's, yeah, CGI nowadays is kind of a bad word when you're discussing movies, especially, 2000 plus. We not too many practical effects. They did use practical effects in the new Star Wars movie.
Oh yeah, and it shows. I think it looks great.
Right.
It will age well, and I think Prometheus will age well. We'll watch it in 10 years. Like, you look back at Alien, and Alien doesn't look bad because it relied on practical effects, and Alien as well.
Practical effects definitely tend to age better than, like, the claymation or
Nightmare Before Christmas.
Right, or what I was thinking of was the original RoboCop was with Et Tu Man.
Oh my god. Holy cow.
Right.
What a reference.
Right.
Fourth on my list, I've got No Country for Old Men.
Oh, a Coen Brothers film.
A Coen Brothers film, indeed, and a Cormac McCarthy novel. McCarthy's one of my favorite writers. He's been since I read The Road back way long ago.
I didn't know he wrote The Road as well.
Oh, he did, and it's wonderful. It's a modern day Western, essentially, and what's so cool about this movie is it's extremely simple plot. It's about a man who acquires a briefcase full of money and then has to get away with it without being killed. It's a Western.
You say it's simple, but it's also steeped heavily in existentialism and chaos theory and random chance that has a lot of layers to it on top of being kind of a simple plot, where you have the main character who no qualms about killing anybody. The very famous scene in the gas station where
with the flipping the coin.
the flip of the coin, right?
Yeah.
What did you think of the and spoiler alert here for anybody who hasn't seen No Country for Old Men, but the way they changed the ending from the book, what did you think about that?
It was fine. I'm not really one to nitpick where book and movie changes. I know that it's such a common thing to hate on movies who change endings from books, but I mean, more or less, I understand it. It's got to happen. In this circumstance, I think that this ending they gave was a little bit more cinematic.
Right.
It was really kind of eerie having the zoom in on Tommy Lee Jones' face as he gives that final monologue about just not understanding the modern world anymore.
Right.
But I mean, with all the existentialism and chaos theory involved, it still doesn't deviate from the fact that this is a story about a man who is playing cat and mouse with a utter psychopath.
Also, one of the main characters gets killed off screen, which was very unpopular among...
My girlfriend hated it.
among normies, as they're referred to in some groups. Kenzie, have you seen Old Country for No Men? Or No Country for Old Men?
I haven't seen it entirely now.
Oh, okay, so that's why. And what about you, Haley?
I'm the same way. I've seen bits and pieces. That's the thing. That's what my dad's movies.
Oh, really? Wow, I know this conversation has been pretty two-sided, just between Dominic and I. Your choices aren't very popular here, Dominic.
I'm bad.
What's your next one?
My later movies are a little bit more well known. Just give me time.
Right.
My fifth is 2001: A Space Odyssey.
Oh, Kubrick. Okay.
Oh God, I absolutely love Kubrick. This movie is just, for me, it's so epic, and
I haven't seen it in its entirety now.
And and how it plays on. I love how this one shows it deals with artificial intelligence, with HAL 9000, and his relationship with the humans and on board, and how it just it's essentially a movie in 3 acts. We deal with in the beginning the primates and discovering tools. And it's what essentially seems like such a simple thing is made so epic through the use of music and through Kubrick's eye and how well he is with the cinematography. My next one is One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
Whoa, we're just gonna glaze over Kubrick?
This isn't glazing over Kubrick. This isn't glazing over Kubrick. This is trying to get to a movie we all all can discuss, Brendan.
Okay, I actually haven't seen One Who Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
It's great. I'm sad you haven't seen it.
But I do want to say one thing about 2001: A Space Odyssey.
Fire away.
Is that I have sort of a normie opinion of it.
It's boring.
No. I didn't think. I didn't think it was too boring.
Yeah, I had
That's my opinion.
Okay. I enjoyed the first 2/3 of the movie, the first 2 acts. I very much enjoyed the second act, with HAL 9000. But the third act lost me entirely.
How so?
It was very visual based, and I don't think I'm the kind of moviegoer that can enjoy a movie
Yes.
where the aesthetic of the film is the content of the film, without any real character development past that point, or really resolution that I understood. I've only seen the movie once, and it was quite recently, but I guess that's all I have to say about that. We can move on.
Well, I'm the opposite of you there.
Oh, what do you mean?
I love the second and third part, acts of the movie, if you want to call them that. But the first just part of it was so disgustingly slow to actually get to the characters and get to the story and plot that you're almost bored and asleep by the time you get there. But once you do, I love the Stanley Kubrick and all of his movies, but that one just drove me crazy. It was beautifully shot, but that's no excuse to just have such a slow lead up.
Well, I mean, what Kubrick film isn't beautifully shot, though? I mean, it's
Right.
it's
No,
a-
right. He's a great cinematographer.
The second half of Full Metal Jacket is super meh.
Oh, absolutely. It's like I'll watch Full Metal Jacket just for the part where they're in the
Camp?
the basic training,
Oh yeah, dude.
and then after that, I'm like, man, I don't really care about the rest of this movie.
Well, it just turns into another serial Vietnam movie in
Right.
the 80s, which is horrifyingly unfortunate because the first half has so much potential.
If I wanted to watch a great Vietnam War movie, I would watch. I can't remember the name.
Forrest Gump.
Forrest Gump. I can't remember it right now.
It's okay.
It
I
had Charlie
understand.
Sheen in it.
Oh, Platoon.
Not Platoon.
Oh,
We're not gonna dwell on this.
I'm looking
But
up on IMDb. You're all thinking about it.
right. So anyway, the one that flew over the cuckoo's nest. I want to know real quick. Other than Dominic, obviously, as it's on his list, who else has seen that movie here?
Nope.
No.
crickets.
Crickets. Wow. I feel like I'm a big fan of the actors in that movie.
Jack Nicholson is my favorite actor.
Right. Oh, is he?
He's my all-time. Yep.
Jack Nicholson is in that movie, and also there's another actor in that movie who's very popular that nobody knew was in that movie, and I can't remember who it was.
Danny DeVito's in it.
That's who it was.
It's
Danny
very
DeVito.
brief. It's a big ensemble. I mean, Christopher Lloyd's in the ensemble. Danny DeVito's in the ensemble. They all play mental patients in this hospital, and the whole movie is a big statement on mental health in the '60s and how they were treated. And it's very prison-like, and it's very eerie throughout the whole movie.
Well, I know the 60s were probably very bad for the mental health patients, but the 50s were worse.
Yeah, they were.
You had that doctor going around giving ice pick lobotomies through your tear ducts.
Yeah, you know who the worst was for mental health?
Who's that?
Hitler.
Oh. Well, we
Well,
can't.
I mean, we can discuss that on another show.
Yeah, Kenzie is pro Hitler.
Wait, you mean that this podcast?
I wouldn't say I'm pro-Hitler, but I have a different opinion on eugenics than most people do.
Wait, so this conversation can't divert to politics, is what you're saying?
No, we're not going to discuss eugenics on our movie podcast.
Okay, I tried. Okay, next I know we've all seen is The Shining.
Shining. Ooh, another Kubrick. You're a real big fan of Kubrick, huh?
I am a very big fan of Kubrick.
Well, as much as I would love to talk about Kubrick, you're actually over time. We're at 16 minutes already. I know the time has flown.
Okay, it's really good. Jack Nicholson gives a good performance, and I don't care that it's different than the book. And I enjoy the book as well, but I like the movie more. That's an unpopular opinion, but it's okay. Shutter Island is on there as well. I like Shutter Island because it's a noir movie, and you don't get a lot of those anymore.
Right.
Leonardo DiCaprio gives a good performance. It shows that Scorsese can make a decent movie, and the screenplay works really well, and it's even better on a second view.
Right.
I'm not going to spoil the ending. Inglourious Bastards is my only Tarantino. No, my second Tarantino movie on this list.
What was the first one?
I haven't got to it.
Oh. Okay.
Inglourious Bastards is on here. I enjoy it for Christoph Waltz's performance.
Of course.
It's phenomenal. It's so good, and it will stand the test of time. Really. I love how it's a western in all of its aspects, in the sense of the use of music and how the opening shot mirrors Searchers, and all of the themes that go around. I took a Tarantino class at Scott, and we dove into this subject really, really. And last is Kill Bill. Kill Bill's my favorite Tarantino movie, next to Glorious. I love all of the serial kung fu movie aspects that he paid homage to, and all the unbelievable fight choreography, and it just holds up brilliantly.
Also, the animation in Kill Bill Volume 1 was fantastic as well.
Oh, the animated sequence, it's
my
stunning.
My favorite part of the whole movie.
It's stunning. I love it, and I can't really pick a favorite between 1 and 2 because they both excel
Right.
in different aspects.
Right. So we will go ahead and move on to our other co-host here, Haley Fields. So go ahead and let's get started with your list here, Haley.
First of all, I do not know how to follow up with that. There was a lot of conversation with that list.
Just do your best. It's all
Okay,
right.
so my favorite movie is Singing in the Rain.
I love it.
That it's one of those movies where honestly, like, I could be in a bad mood and it would completely change over to that. I think that's why it's my favorite. I don't know like how I feel in terms of acting and everything, but like personally, it's one of those movies that can really change my mood, and that's what I like about a movie. I like a movie that changes me.
I think this is one of those movies where you're gonna have to talk about it because none of us have seen it.
I own it in a box collection.
Oh, whoa!
I
stand
almost put this on the list.
So yeah, so Singing in the Rain, it's a musical starring Gene Kelly and Debbie Reynolds. Which if you guys don't know who that is, it's the grandma in Halloween Town.
It's also Carrie Fisher's mother.
Mom. Yeah,
Yep.
that's true. Carrie Fisher's mother. But Singing in the Rain, so it's a musical about this actor in Hollywood, and they're introducing the talking movies. So, and it's kind of like big controversy around it. Everybody thought that it would never happen, and so the whole movie is just revolved around trying to make this talking picture. But there's just like a bunch of different actors and actresses that get in the way. But I mean, honestly, you can watch Gene Kelly dance for like an hour and a half. You can't be sad after that.
Aesthetic.
Exactly.
with all space.
It's brilliant. It's such a.
It really, like, you honestly, like, in high school, every single Friday night after work, I would meet up with my friend Anna, we would watch Singing in the Rain and eat Oreos. And we did that every single Friday night, and it was just kind of like a good way, like the end of a stressful like school week. That was just our way to like help.
Isn't it interesting that Kelly didn't like each other?
Yeah,
Making
well,
that
he
movie
was
too?
he was like way older than her.
Yeah, she was like what, 18?
Yeah.
And he was apparently not.
My second favorite movie is American Beauty.
That's what I've been wanting to talk about.
Wonderful.
American Beauty is such a
Wonderful
great
movie.
film.
The first time I saw this movie was a little over a year ago, and I've always seen it on like my DVD stand, but I've never watched it before. It was one of my dad's movies.
Oh, something you guys need to know about our host here. She has the most extensive movie collection
That's true.
I've ever seen in my entire life.
I
I'm
probably
jealous.
have over 2,000 DVDs, and that's not a joke. And I have about 300 movies on my iTunes account.
Oh my gosh.
And 2 Netflix accounts.
You have two
Yeah.
Netflix.
I do have 2 Netflix accounts.
What?
For what purpose?
Right.
Actually, because if I have been grounded from using my mom's account, so I just use my dad's account. I mean, my parents are divorced, so my mom has an account, my dad has an account. But I saw with American Beauty, actually this like vlogger guy posted on a Snapchat story, and I was like, oh, that actually looks like a really good movie. So I found it on Netflix that night, and I watched it, and 100% honestly, I've never been able to say this about another movie. It completely changed me. I'm not exaggerating. It's like I remember after watching it, I walked into the kitchen, my mom was sitting there, and she's like she could tell something was up. And I just watched American Beauty, and she's like, there was just something about that movie. It just completely changed my outlook on everything.
It's an effective movie.
Yeah, no, it really
Yeah.
is. Like, it completely changed my outlook on like how I completely live my life.
Well, let's be honest. Kevin Spacey has changed everybody's life at least
That's,
once.
that's
Whether
true.
it be American Beauty or not.
Right, American.
That's true.
It could have been American Beauty. It could have been. What's the other movie?
There's a lot of
Pay it forward. That's what I'm talking about.
Are you referring to Superman
No. God, no. I was talking about Pay It Forward. The movie where, spoiler alert, everybody dies. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. No, but yeah, Kevin Spacey's fantastic. I watched American Beauty at the behest of Haley a few months ago, probably a month and a half ago. The first
Yeah,
time I saw it.
yeah. It was right after we started. And that was
Right.
almost 2 months ago.
Yeah, it was about 2 months ago. Absolutely fantastic film. I didn't know what I was getting into when I turned it on. I actually watched it on Netflix as well. So I didn't look anything up about the film before I watched it. I just knew that it was very good and an absolutely beautiful movie. I love how it starts off and you think you're going to go in one direction with the homemade video of the daughter and her boyfriend talking about killing her father.
Yeah.
So you have this whole expectation at the beginning of the movie that this is where it's going to go, and then it completely changes at a certain point in the film. And then, even after it changes and you know it's changed, it keeps you guessing still. Because it tells you what's going to happen at the beginning of the movie. But it leaves you wondering as to how it's going to complete that plot point, which is so effective and was such an interesting way of telling the story. And I was actually a little worried that it would kind of take away from his
Right,
death.
it would divert from it. It actually helps.
Right, I was worried that it would make his death less effective to me emotionally, and it didn't at all. It tells you in the first.
Oh yeah,
5
no,
minutes.
you're right. I should know since I just did a whole project on it.
Right, I was like, it tells you in the first 5 minutes of the movie he dies. At the end, he's like, "My name is so and so, and a
It's
little
less
less than a
different,
year
just
from
my
now."
neighborhood.
Right.
It's like it's saying in Toy Story, toys do come alive.
Right.
Yeah.
But yeah, what's your next movie?
My next one, actually, it's What's Eating Gilbert Grape.
Oh,
And
good
I
one.
kind of surprised myself. I mean, I love this movie. I watch it a lot. But to be honest with you, I'm not a Johnny Depp or Leonardo DiCaprio fan.
Really?
I don't think they're bad actors. I don't think what they do is bad. But personally, I've never been a fan of anything they've been in. Like, I'm not a fan of Titanic. Johnny Depp, there's really no movie that I enjoy that much. It's not that they're bad. It's just personally I don't enjoy them. But
He's a niche actor.
yeah.
Johnny
yeah.
Depp?
Oh,
You think he's a niche? You think he's a character actor?
100%.
I could agree.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
What with all the different roles Johnny Depp has played? I mean, he always kind of plays the weird guy.
I would say 8 out of the 10 does.
That's pretty true.
I mean, he
That's-
plays it well.
Right.
Oh, Kenzie.
What were you saying, Kenzie?
I would just say that's the typecasting though. Like if you look at Tim Burton, he's gonna cast him as the weird guy every time just because that's the way Tim Burton's writes. That's not a ding against Johnny Depp at all.
Does Tim Burton know that there are other actors besides his wife and Johnny Depp? Has anybody told him that there are more actors in the world than those two? I don't know.
He knows who Danny Elfman is.
Oh, that's true. That's true. Fun fact about Johnny Depp. everybody thinks that Nightmare Before Christmas is a not Johnny Depp, the director Tim Burton. Everybody thinks it's a Tim Burton movie.
It ain't.
It's not. It was.
it's not?
It was produced by.
Right.
It was,
I didn't know that.
It was produced by Tim Burton, but it was directed by someone else, and Tim Burton is typically a director.
Thanks.
Right. Yeah, the little fun fact for you, a little snippet.
I was gonna move on, but I did want to say one last thing about what's my favorite ring. I know everybody was mad about Leonardo DiCaprio not getting an Oscar, and I was like, whatever about it. But like, he did not get enough credit for that.
That's
like,
true.
Leonardo
100%.
DiCaprio
Yeah.
did not get enough credit. I'm not a fan of his at all, but when it comes to that role, he should have gotten like on so many awards for that, and I just felt like nothing.
See-
Like that was a ridiculously good job. Like the actor, the
I'm a
character he was playing.
huge fan of Leonardo DiCaprio. Though.
As am I.
I love every movie Leo's in. I think he does an absolutely fantastic job. I'm interested. Dominic, what did you think of The Revenant? Did you like it?
I loved it, but I didn't love it for Leo. I actually liked
Tom Hardy. That's what everybody says. Kenzie, have you seen The Revenant yet?
No, I have not.
Oh well, I liked Leonardo DiCaprio's role in that movie. I thought he did a very good job, and he's very much a body actor, which is very hard to do. But you see it's showcased in The Revenant, as well as Wolf of Wall Street, which is a 10 out of 10 movie, and even in the Titanic. The scene where they're in the water and that selfish bitch wouldn't move her fat ass over.
That's why he really wanted to have this podcast, because he wanted to vent about Titanic.
Right. That's the 100% the reason.
Don't let him fool you.
I was purely wanting to bitch about the
Especially
Titanic.
against Titanic.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. He was threatening me and Haley before. I was like, don't.
Right. I was like, we're gonna bring it in at the middle of the podcast so nobody knows. But okay, anyway, that's all I'll say about Leonardo DiCaprio.
Okay, I'm moving on then. So my next favorite movie, I think, absolutely says everything with the fact that the album so much, and that's Scott Pilgrim vs. the World.
Oh, okay.
Incredible album. I have it on my Amazon vinyl. But
So you do like the album? I was
I love the
confused.
album. No, I love the album. Also because I have a little, but whatever.
He's
It's.
so
I mean, it's funny. It's
awkward.
different.
You
You know.
I like Michael Cera too, but I thought he was better, and I thought this movie had a better album than Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, Nick and Nora's Ultimate Playlist.
I disagree.
I haven't seen that movie yet, and I keep trying to find it. I can't find it on TV anywhere.
I enjoy Nick and Nora, but I think Scott Pilgrim is just completely a triumph.
Well, Scott Pilgrim's more fun than Ultimate or Endless Playlist. Is it Endless or Ultimate?
Nick and
Infinite.
Nora-
Infinite. That was totally off.
She hasn't
Seen
even
the movie.
Yeah, I say she hasn't even seen it yet.
But yeah, I did enjoy Scott Pilgrim, and I know that movie got a lot of flack from being different than the comics. But honestly, who cares? It was a lot of fun. The fight scenes were great, and the entire concept of the film was very entertaining as well.
Oh, hell yeah, it is. That's so cool.
We also cannot end Haley's little section here without talking about Gale, the YouTube series that she was.
Yes.
I don't know if everybody in the group is, so it's Gale, Gayl, on YouTube.
Gayle.
Oh, I'm sorry,
Big fan.
I know, I forgot. Dave.
My husband, Dave.
It's super quotable, really funny. And you posted that on the group at some
Yeah.
point.
It has to be shared with everybody.
Right. I think I'm on episode 16.
Yeah.
And they're about
It's
10.
genius.
They're about 10 minutes long.
Yeah.
I actually shared that with.
I'm on 4.
You're on 4.
I'm on 4.
Oh man, I actually shared that with one of my friends on Facebook the other day. Kenzie, if you haven't checked that out yet, you need to.
I'm just so out of the loop.
All right. Anyway, what's your next movie?
My next favorite movie is Yellow Submarine.
Oh, okay.
If anybody doesn't know, Yellow Submarine is, well, you should know, is a Beatles album, and this is kind of like the video that went with it. It's a cartoon. I remember I have it on VHS, and I have it on my iTunes too, but I remember when I was young, my mom would let me watch it once in a while. I was always like super confused. If I tried to watch it, she would yell at me. But now that I'm older, it's kind of trippy. You know?
Oh, it's
like,
crazy
I wouldn't
trippy.
understand that when I was a kid, but like, yeah, it's so trippy.
Drugs.
should try drugs.
Drugs, man.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, being a person that's never done any type of drug, I guess. I don't even know. Like,
That's true.
You mean
Yeah.
a square?
so I guess it's pretty trippy to me. But I mean, if you enjoy music, it's really good.
It's fun.
No, it really is. It's a really fun movie. I think this, like, I kind of put on the list. Oh, like I've never been. I don't remember like having seen it. You know, it's just kind of always been around.
Some great, by the way, it's Slackers. It is. What's that?
I love me some
$10.
Slackers.
I also love Slackers.
I haven't been to a Slackers in like 15 years.
If you want to get
I
Yellow
thought they were
Submarine-
honestly out of business.
They're pretty close to it. Yeah. Missouri jokes. Woo. All right. Was that your last movie?
No.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I still have 5 more to go.
Oh, Nick Alexander Snapchatted me. Sucking Brendan's dick isn't podcasting, it's just skating. Nikki, can you just not shitpost at all?
Whoa. We're calling people out in the podcast now. This is
Good lord.
This is what it's become. This, well, Haley, I do have to cut you short, unfortunately.
Can I just finish?
Yeah, go.
So,
Yeah, no.
first of all,
okay.
Yeah, I was gonna go ahead
Okay.
and speed through the rest of your list.
Okay, so first of all, Minions. Flowers in the Attic, which is based off a book by B.C. Andrews, and it's kind of messed up. It's one of my favorite movies. It's about
It's about
incest.
incest.
It's about incest, yeah. So a really good family movie. You should watch it.
Right.
Next one is Triplets of Belleville. It's kind of like a foreign film. It's a cartoon. There's really no talking in it, so I really like because I have to pay attention. So yeah, that one's a really good one. That's one that I always.
You're so edgy.
Next one.
Amelie's one of my favorite porn movies.
Next one, Heathers. That's the 1989 classic. Writer
It's
Christian Slater.
brilliant.
It is. I think it's a cult classic, one of the most important movies that I know, and it's now turned into a musical, which is fantastic. Yeah.
Awesome.
Oh yeah. Next movie, it's another Beatles movie, Across the Universe. It's,
Oh, I love
Jim
that movie.
Yep.
and Evan Rachel. Beatles musical,
And
really, really,
Bono.
really good. And Bono, that's correct. Fantastic movie. My last one is the to-do list. This is one, first time I watched it was with my ex-boyfriend. Not a movie to watch with anybody else that you know. You watch it strictly by yourself. Yeah, no, don't watch it with anybody else the first time. It's so, like, it's
Is it a sexy
funny
movie?
what?
Is it a sexy movie?
Extreme.
Ooh.
It's like a comedy. It has Aubrey Plaza in it and Bill Hader, Donald Glover, as a lot of people know, Childish Gambino. Well, it's hilarious but definitely you can't watch it with anybody else. You absolutely can't. It's so incredibly out.
Gotcha. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and move on away from the smut movies and to Kenzie's list, which apparently is objective. So we will go ahead and move on to you, Kenzie.
Right. Okay, so since they are the objective best movies of all time and we're running a little short on time, I'll just do the top 5.
Okay. Well,
So
we still have to
you
go
can,
through my
you know,
list,
ponder
too,
it.
so you know, you can take your time.
Okay,
with
so, well, I mean, you can, take your opinion and realize that it's just that. Well, The Sound of My Voice has to be number 5 of the best movie of all time.
Oh, that you showed me that movie.
It's an excellent movie. It's a brilliant work of art where all of the actors in it are just so convincing that you're enthralled in every single one of their stories. And it's one of those movies where you will want to watch it again. It entices you to watch it again. You pick up on different things. You come up with different reasons why things happen. And that's what makes a good movie.
So, real quick, before we get further into Kenzie's list here, Kenzie is a huge fan of movies that you can theorize about. Kenzie has seen the movie Primer how many times?
It's been 14.
Exactly.
14 times. Are you guys familiar with Primer?
I am. I've seen Primer 3 times. It's wonderful, but even on my third viewing, I still feel lost. Now, I have a friend who is also Primer obsessed, who tells me that I need to see it more. And it's not that it's a hard watch, it's really short. It's maybe 80 minutes? But I think I need to see it 14 times like you have to appreciate it.
It's a very dense 80 minutes. It's not like, oh, this is 80 minutes with a lot of transition shots and flowy things. There's a lot going on in every scene, and it's all very confusing. Kenzie, do you even know what's going on your 14th watch? Were you like, I finally understand what's happening in this movie?
I have one question remaining about the movie.
And it's who killed the one guy, right?
Well, I mean, I don't want to spoil it for anybody who wants to watch it, but that is my main question. And what was their motivation behind it, considering, the other variables at play that they still left there?
At this point, though, could it just be a plot hole?
No. I don't believe so. Especially if you watch his newer movie, Upstream Color. It takes Primer and it multiplies it by 10. It's longer than Primer, and it doesn't have that sort of prologue in the beginning. Because in Primer, there is that huge pickup where just you're thrown so much information, you really don't know what to do with it. It's not that the movie's out of order that's confusing, right? It's just that you're given so much information, you don't know how to interpret it. But with Upstream Color, the entire movie is just like that. And you will never, on at least your first viewing, I've seen the movie 3 times and I'm still lost. And it's just a very, very, like you said, dense movie with information.
Gotcha. All right, we'll let you get back to your list, though. I just wanted to pre-game, yeah.
He just wanted to spoil more shit for people.
All right. Oh, I did want to say.
Right.
I did want to say, Sound of My Voice. Excellent film. It's one of those. It's a cult movie, and it kind of in regards to what we were talking about before. There's like 1 or 2 theories about the ending. I won't say anything more than that, other than I will say that I think there's only 2 possible endings, and one is just clearly more interesting than the other. But I definitely, if you guys haven't seen it, I would watch it. We can go ahead and move on to the 4th objective best movie of all time.
Right, the 4th best movie of all time has to be Enemy with Jake Gyllenhaal. It is an excellent movie that I've seen 7 times, and there's one giant hole in it that just won't let you fit the puzzle pieces together. And I think that's where we have differing opinions. As you say, I favor movies that, make you think about them, right? Like the movies that make you want to watch them more and more, as opposed to every time you watch the movie, you're like, that's out of place, that's kind of stupid. But at the very beginning of Enemy, it tells you, the problem is the movie's just told you not in chronological order. And it's about a guy who sees himself in a movie just as an extra. And then it's about his story, trying to find out who that person is.
Sounds really cool.
It's a really crazy movie. Again, a really dense movie. It's only 91 minutes, but you're not going to have a concrete theory about what's going on.
I watched Enemy the same night we watched Sound of My Voice. You had me watch Enemy right back to it, and I think I fell asleep during it, so I need to rewatch it again. And that's not to say it was a boring movie. It was just really late at night, and so I'm going to blame you for that.
I'll take the full responsibility, but I will say it is more boring than Sound of My Voice. One of the main problems with Enemy is it doesn't really have that surface story that people want. You know, like you guys were talking about No Country for Old Men earlier, and that's a good movie with surface story, but there's a lot of layers to it as well. Enemy really doesn't have that surface story. You have to watch it just for those layers underneath. So, I mean, it's perfectly understandable why you can fall asleep, because if you're not trying to follow 18 different, timelines interweaving themselves into a finishing scene, then you're going to get lost pretty quick and be pretty uninterested.
Right. All right, well, let's go on. What's the third most objective best? Right, no, yeah. What's your number 3 there, Kenzie?
Oh, well, I mean, you know what it is. It's freaking Primer. Primer, this is just an insane movie.
Oh.
I mean, the first 20 minutes of it, it is a short movie, like Dominic said. It's only an hour and 15 minutes long, but
see, this is where you threw me off, because you said we watched it 5 times together. I've only seen it once.
I could have sworn we watched it more together, but
we watched it the one time.
You guessed
We watched it the one time.
You guessed Enemy, though.
Yeah, well, we've watched Enemy once, and we've watched Primer once with your parents. I know everybody is super interested about the movies we've watched together.
It's a critical.
Everybody's just absolutely enthralled.
Right. Wow. I brought up Primer totally out of the blue, and I can't believe it ended up being your third favorite movie. I'm so good at this. I should
Well, Dominic had something to say about it.
No, nobody cares.
Hey, easy. I was agreeing that it's a movie that literally it requires viewing. Like, I watched it, and I'm usually not one to watch movies back to back, just because there are so many other movies that I have that I need to see. But it was a movie I watched it once, and I understood probably, I'd say, 30% of it, and I watched it immediately after a second time, just because it's 80 minutes of just, as Kenzie's saying, pure density. So it demands it, and that's just not something you see in a lot of movies that come out now.
Right. Oh boy.
It's a beautiful film. It's beautifully shot. The soundtrack is, slow paced to give you that just convincing, this is a slow movie feeling. When in reality, so many different things are happening that you need to be paying attention to, or else you're going to get lost.
I think the word that you're looking for is a slow burner. is the current term for movies like that, which it definitely.
I mean, I think movies need to make you think. If you watch a movie and it doesn't make you think, whether it's about the storyline or politics or the characters, even just simply just the character's dilemma, if it's just a silly movie, then it's not, really art as much as it is just a series of skits put together.
So I can take it you're not really a big fan of the Transformers movies?
Oh, I mean, those are just... They're on a different tier, really, in reality. But I mean, that brings us to the CGI point, though, is my 6th favorite movie, which was excluded, was The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. And that's a good example of why CGI isn't necessarily what's ruining movies. Because that movie has a ton of CGI in it, but you just wouldn't notice it because the movie's not centered around it.
Right.
It's kind of just a tool to help tell a story. But if you watch Transformers, it is just purely about the CGI. And there's some sort of, and Shia LaBeouf's in it. So.
Fighting robots.
Right. Well, and then the second one, the robot balls. You guys remember that scene?
Nope.
I thank God just didn't watch it after the first one. That was where I had, put my foot down. But I guess you have more patience than I do.
Oh, it was classic.
I was 13 and I knew it was bad. Like...
Oh, all right. What's your number 2 there?
All right, the second best movie of all time has to be Precious. And Sandra Bullock stole that Oscar from Gabrielle Sidibe. She just took it out of her hands and just ripped it from her soul. But Precious is a beautiful movie set in 1987 about a very abused, low-income girl in Harlem, and she's trying to, just get her life together. She's just trying to get an education. She's just trying to, move up in life. And the movie is purely a drama. It's not a confusing movie. You're going to understand it. But all of the acting is perfect. It flows together extremely well. And you really get into these characters' lives and stories.
It is a very heavy movie, though. Not so much dense, but very heavy.
Yeah, it's a hard watch.
It is a hard watch for emotional reasons, definitely, rather than plot reasons. But are we required to give a trigger warning before this movie?
I do.
I
do.
mean,
if I recommend it to somebody, I do usually suggest that it is. I just say, hey, just a heads up. It's not exactly easy. Hop in and feel good movie.
I want to get a sound bite. I want to get a sound bite now that we can play. That's just like a super obnoxious and ironic trigger warning. Right.
I mean, do you really give trigger warnings, though, just because there's sort of dark scenes in a movie? Because then you'd have to give a trigger warning before 12 Years a Slave, before, the girl with the dragon tattoo. I mean, obviously the scene is very dark, right?
Well,
but that doesn't, justify sort of, in my opinion, warning somebody, hey, you might, sort of feel bad during this movie.
Right.
Well, that's kind of the point of the movie.
Right.
Right. I give a trigger warning depending on who I'm suggesting. If I'm suggesting it to, like, Brendan, I don't usually give a trigger warning. But if I'm suggesting it, I don't.
I get triggered, okay?
But if I'm suggesting...
I wouldn't suggest it to a PTSD patient, but I mean, I would if somebody, like, had something traumatic happen in their lives, I would still suggest it to them without a trigger warning.
Yeah, be like, oh, you were raped by your father? Boy, I got the movie for you.
That feels more unrelated to the movie and more like you're just a bad person sometimes.
Right. All right, so here it is, the number one best movie of all time, according to Kenzie Heritage, which apparently is subjective. But take it away, Kenzie.
Well, according to, people with good taste. But the best movie of all time is Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind with Jim Carrey and Kate Winslet. It is an amazing movie where Jim Carrey is having a fight with Kate Winslet, who's his girlfriend, and the entire movie revolves around their struggle of their relationship and, if it should continue. And that's putting it lightly. Like, there's a lot, of course, if you guys have seen it, I'm skipping over a lot of stuff intentionally. And it's one of those movies you also want to watch a few times because there's a very important, switch that occurs, and trying to find where that switch happens is what entices you to go back and watch it again. But even if you just watch it just once for that, pure surface story, you're going to love it. It's a great, drama, romance, thriller. It just really gets at you fast.
It hits so many genres of film, where it gets the romance, the drama, the romantic comedy, the sci-fi aspect of the movie. Even some points there's horror aspects to it. I mean, they're very small parts. I'm thinking of one scene in particular, but it can be a little scary at points as well. But it just hits on so much. And it's so complete and so well done. I definitely feel like it's probably Jim Carrey's best. I don't know if it's his best performance, but it's definitely his best movie.
Agreed.
Yeah, I would say it's his best performance as well. He just did so well in this movie. I couldn't see Jim Carrey as much as I could see the actor.
Right.
I could see Joel trying to get Clementine off of this, bus well, I don't want to spoil it, but it's just such a beautifully well done movie that you don't see Jim Carrey from The Truman Show or, even other serious films that he's done, you actually see these characters because of how well they're acted.
Absolutely.
Even through the opening credits of just watching Joel cry as he drives his car, there's something about that that's very human, very. I almost want to say it's tangible because I mean, who hasn't, drove hard, just absolutely heartbroken.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like you watch that, you just kind of get it.
Yeah, it's one of those moments in movies where you're just like, that happens. That's so down.
You just want to cry with them.
Right. It's so down to earth. Excellent.
Right. Well, I mean, here's the spoiler warning though, because the interesting part is that actually takes place at the end of the movie, or chronologically.
Right.
Him, because you see the dent in the car that doesn't happen until about 2/3 the way through the movie. So he's crying because he's so confused. He hasn't met his girlfriend yet in his memory, but of course he has. He's met her on the bus before, and you're trying to figure out when exactly that shifts, right? Because they actually meet on the bus.
I want to do
a
quick correction for you. It's actually a train, not a bus.
I'm sorry, you're exactly right. Okay, so it is a train. You're right. You're exactly right. So they meet on that train, and that actually takes place at the very end chronologically as well. So it really, you're trying to piece together this movie, but can still enjoy it if you're not trying to overanalyze every scene and how things, look and how things are pictured.
Absolutely. Well, so we will go ahead and move on to my list here. Luckily, my list has a few crossovers, so it'll save us a little time here. I will start with, since we're not quite to an hour yet, so I'll go ahead and start with my number 10, which is a movie that I know is on Kenzie's list that she had to take off, which is Another Earth. I don't know if either of you have seen it, Dominic?
Another Earth?
Yeah.
I have.
Absolutely beautiful movie. It's one of these movies that has a sci-fi aspect to it, but the sci-fi aspect is much like Eternal Sunshine is in the background, and it's more of a storytelling tool than a main part of the story itself. I won't go much into more like that, but it's about redemption and finding yourself, quite literally, actually, in the film. And I'm laughing at my own joke here.
It wasn't that good.
Yeah, shit.
I've yet to see the movie.
Right. Kenzie should have laughed at that, I feel like, because it was pretty funny. But actually, I want to bring up my number 11 real quick, and I'll Drive. I really want to talk about this movie.
It's great.
And we can all just agree that it's fantastic real fast. I don't think Haley's seen it yet. Oh.
I actually I think it's not on Netflix.
No, it's not on Netflix.
It used to
I think
be.
that's why I keep putting it on.
I own it. I'll bring it over.
I
probably,
have it on,
honestly, I probably do own it after she's leased it out.
I have it on my laptop. Actually, I showed it to my parents and my sister. The real.
Do you feel like you're putting that movie higher though on your list because it has such a good soundtrack? Like, I'm not saying it's not an amazing movie, but at number 11, is it just kind of overhyped there?
No, the soundtrack. I didn't fall in love with the soundtrack until the second time I watched that movie, and it was my number 11 after the first time I watched it. So,
Okay.
So while the soundtrack is absolutely brilliant, and I have most of the songs on my personal playlist, I don't think that has anything to do with why I loved it so much. I love that movie because it's a love letter to cheesy 80s movies. Right.
Yeah. I like that look you just gave me because that's why I like it too.
Right. It's this movie that mirrors these cheesy 80s B movies while improving on them. and being absolutely fantastic in itself as well.
Right, right. If I may, though, like, it does it in such a serious and great way. Like, you're making it sound like a comedy that's parodying these 80 movies.
No,
but it's
no,
actually
no.
a very serious film.
Right, and of course Bryan Cranston is in it, whom we all love, and then
Is it Carey Mulligan? No, it's not. It's the other one.
right. I don't know his name. The guy from
Are you thinking Ryan Gosling?
no, Ryan Gosling is actually fabulous in this movie. He's the main character, and I didn't know I loved Ryan Gosling so much until I watched it. And Drive actually made me want to see the new guys. Is that what?
Nice guys.
Nice guys. I haven't seen it yet. I'm gonna wait till it comes out on like Netflix or something. But
You just like the Scorpion jacket that Ryan Gosling.
of course,
You can buy it on Amazon.
I'm not an edgy douche. I'm not gonna wear the Scorpion. Like you see, like the fat guy wearing the cool Scorpion jacket. Around. Like I'll be chewing on a toothpick. Like
Like, you guys seen Drive?
it's my favorite movie. I love it so
Just
much.
start silently singing the soundtrack.
Right. I'll be like, I'm a real human being. So actually, I'll move on to my true list here. My number 9 is Moonrise Kingdom,
Great.
which is Edward Norton, Bill Murray, and a bunch of people actually. Bruce Willis. Absolutely.
Which it's a real turn of a character for him because he's very like
Oh,
he shows a lot of empathy.
He's very understated. He kind of plays this. I want to say father figure because he doesn't start off that way, but he becomes that. Have you seen Moonrise? I know I watched it at your apartment, but I don't know if you watched it with us or not, Kenzie.
Oh, no, I haven't.
Well, anyway, if you haven't seen it, fantastic film. I think it's on Netflix.
It is.
Yeah, so you definitely check it out. My number 7 is ironically Seven by David Fincher.
That's in your top.
Oh,
I mean, it's good.
absolutely.
I didn't know it's in your top.
Yeah, I'm a huge.
Yeah, I second Dominic's opinion there.
I'm a, and I know this is my father coming out in me. I'm a huge Fincher fan. I want to say. No, The Game didn't make it into my list, but again, I'm a huge fan of The Game. I'm a huge fan of Fight Club, who was also Fincher, I believe. Girl with the Dragon Tattoo was Fincher. So, I mean, Seven was so good. And then you have that classic "What's in the box" scene.
Even though it's not, I don't even think it make it into my top
I just
100. But it is, it's a great climactic scene.
right.
Also, fun fact for you, Implying people, Michael Raymond, a friend of ours in the group, he went to a master class at SEMA with David Fincher taught it.
Oh,
so
wow.
he has listened to David Fincher in person.
Wow, I'm actually super jealous.
He apparently tore Inception apart, buddy.
Wow,
You know,
that's hella rude.
douche.
Also speaking of Seven, he doesn't come in till the end of the movie, but Kevin Spacey is in it as well. All right. My number 6 actually is another Fincher film, Fight Club, which I think gets a lot of flack because it's so popular.
I think it's a little overrated, personally.
I could see how it might not hold up to scrutiny, but the first time you watch Fight Club, the very first time,
It's memorable.
it's such a cinematic experience. And the soundtrack is fantastic. Edward Norton plays his character very well, and Miss Bottom Carter, Miss Carter also plays her character very well. But that's all I'll say about Fight Club.
I've seen Fight Club, and I know that I've absolutely seen it.
Oh, you have to see
I
it.
know that I have not seen it on Netflix. Like, it's one that's always been on my list, but I've always been
Oh, it's so good. And has it been spoiled for you? I'm curious. Okay.
Fun fact, though, my aunt used to date him.
What?
Yeah, my
Whoa.
aunt Anne.
Oh, and
That's
you're so connected. Haley.
you are crazy.
Right. I picked the right co-host for this to become popular. Okay, so we'll move it along. My number 5, which will probably be the most contested film on my list. I know Dominic and I have had conversations about this. I've received flack recently from both Haley.
I was gonna say
Speed. Yes.
Oh no.
No. Okay. First off, I can defend this movie because yes, it's campy. Yes, it's a little cheesy. But it stays true to the feel of the original cartoon. It also modernizes it enough that it's very fun. I think the best compliment I can give this movie is something that Haley said about Singing in the Rain, where this is a movie I can watch it and I just feel really good. It's a feel-good movie. It's a lot of fun. The storytelling of the Wachowski brothers, who directed this film, and that's the Wachowski brothers.
no, it's not. It's the sisters.
All right, my mistake. Wachowski sisters. They were brothers at the time that they directed.
Shows how much you love that film.
Is that what?
They're both transgender.
They both? Oh,
Yeah.
I thought one of them.
No, they're both
What did the
transgender.
second one happen?
Right.
2 months
Yeah,
ago.
yeah, actually, I don't know.
She like.
I know she came
Got it.
out. I don't know if she.
Okay.
Yeah.
I only knew it was that's why I was.
Right. It's got. Actually, I can't think of his name. He was in The Big Lebowski.
Jeff.
No, not Jeff Bridges.
John
Goodman.
John Goodman.
John Goodman.
That's-
It's got John Goodman in it, and his performance is absolutely fantastic. Now, there are cringeworthy parts to that movie, and I will say that the movie does have problems, but it's a lot of fun. The storyline is well written. It's not. It's good because of the storytelling, and the aesthetic of the movie is very nice. The storytelling is very interesting, and it's not boring, and you're never rolling your eyes at the story. You'll roll your eyes at parts, but those parts are playing homage to the original feel of how goofy the cartoon was. And most of them are focused around Speed's little brother and his pet monkey.
Oh, Jesus
Right.
Christ.
So those parts, and you do have to remember it's a kids' movie, but it doesn't pander to children.
No, and that's one thing it does. well.
Right. And I will say that the movie group I'm in, Implying We Can Discuss Movies, loves Speed Racer as well. So I'm not alone in my obsession with this cult classic. I've been validated in my
So
list.
leave me alone.
Right. My next 4 we've already discussed is American Beauty. My number
Great.
Right.
Also, at the end, credits.
Right.
Oh yeah.
Is it-
The end credit song is a Beatles song. The version in the credits is not sung by the Beatles,
Right.
but that's a song.
Oh, okay.
It's true.
My number 3 is a movie I don't think anybody else here has seen. I think we're Anomalisa. Came out. I've had arguments with people about when.
Let's just watch it after this. Honestly, like,
I'm actually down.
yeah, I am. Too.
I'm always down to watch Anomalisa. But it came out December 31st, 2015. So everybody thinks it's a 2016 movie, but it's actually a 2015 movie. Not that that's relevant to the quality of the movie at all. Right. But I see it on a list of best movies of 2016 all the time, and I'm like, actually. But not pay this movie homage. It has such an interesting and modernist view of, or not modernist, but realistic view of the degradation of relationships, especially relationships that have started young. It takes a realistic look at the character you're following. It has really wonderful storytelling tools and it's not heavy. You'll feel very judgmental during the film, but at the end, it goes either two ways, where you either hate the main character at the end of the film, or you're empathetic with the main character at the end of the film. And I feel like you could say that about any movie, but with this, it's pretty special. And it is claymation, which holds a special spot in my heart because it's so hard to do. And the more challenging a medium for your art, I think the more important it is.
It's tedious.
It is tedious, very tedious. Another movie I'm a big fan of is Coraline, which another absolutely fantastic claymation movie. I just watched Chicken Run.
I was about to say, I suppose
Some Wallace and Gromit shit.
Like Implying Wallace and Gromit is shit anyway. Wallace and Gromit's
No,
fantastic.
I used to watch it. I watched it.
Person Who Were-Rabbit is arguably one of the best movies in history. Fight me, everybody.
Well, we
Well,
all.
and Wallace and Gromit, it's like the same as Chicken.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's the same people. Yeah. Although, Curse of the Were-Rabbit clearly copied off of mine.
Oh,
Yeah,
obviously,
yeah,
but that's
true.
done purposely. I mean, okay, I lived overseas, and I don't think people in America recognize the novelty that Wallace and Gromit.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I've done.
I had no idea. I've only been to Mexico, so.
I've never been to Mexico, but living in England for 2 years, especially whenever I'm younger, it's so obvious how important this is to their child. Like for us, we look back at like Lion King, but these guys like, Wallace and
Well,
Gromit.
it is very British. It's a very British show.
Oh, dude, it's British. It's like, hello, Gromit. It's just insanely British.
Right.
Anyways, continue.
Okay. Oh no, you're fine. My next movie is my number 2 is also a movie we've already discussed, which is Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind.
Yes.
Proud of you.
Which we all love. Now my number
I
one.
honestly don't. I but I couldn't tell you.
It's so good.
I mean, I could tell you that Jim Carrey was in it, and I could tell you what her art is.
Right.
That's all I can.
Right.
It's so good.
I need to watch it.
Yeah, definitely watch it again. Now, my number 1 favorite movie, also is my number 1 favorite actor in it, Her,
I almost put this on.
Spike Jonze movie with Joaquin Phoenix. Fun fact about how dumb I am, I pronounced his name Joaquin for a very long time, and nobody
You
knew
did
who the fuck
not.
I was talking about. And I was like,
Funny.
oh, the guy from Her. And finally someone was like, you mean Joaquin? And I was like,
Joke.
yeah, that's totally joking about the Joaquin. Who the hell's... Anyway.
That's another one that I have on my iTunes. Like I purchased it. I've never,
Her...
I mean, I could watch it right now. If I want.
So I wrote an essay about this movie that I posted to Facebook. It was actually a review.
I've read it. It's great.
I appreciate that. I appreciate the feedback. But I don't claim, again, I bring this up with the modesty of my list. I don't claim that it's the best movie ever made, but I would claim that it's the best written movie I've ever seen. With the dialogue, the poetry, the music, of course. The Moon Song by Karen O is absolutely beautiful. It's drenched in metaphor, and it just fits the themes of the movie so well. Joaquin does such an amazing job of playing a guy he's weird and he's a little creepy, but he's normal.
We all know him. He's that creepy guy at the office that, like, kind of keeps to himself a little.
But you see, I think a lot of people see him that way, but with my interpretation of the movie, I disagree. Because I feel like we're looking into this guy's life unabridged, and it's reflecting ourselves back onto this because we're all fucking weird. We're all these weird people, and we hide it very well in public.
Right.
And so we see this goofy guy that we go, oh, he's weird. And then he does this thing that's so insane, which is fall in love with his computer. I went into watching this movie for the first time thinking it was going to be a comedy about a weirdo who falls in love with his computer and how ridiculous it is. And it was turned around on me, and how absolutely beautiful the love with Samantha was. And I cannot talk about the end of this movie enough, with the final speech that Samantha gives to Theodore before the end of the movie. I won't spoil the movie. Not that you can spoil this movie and still be fantastic.
Everyone should see this that's listening, by the
Oh,
way. This is a very humbling movie.
Oh my gosh, it's a critique of relationships.
It's a critique of society.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. It's also a realistic, which refreshes about this movie. I don't mean.
No, you're fine.
It is a realistic approach to what our future could look like if things continue.
Right, and it's like I think like some of the better movies we've talked about, Eternal Sunshine, and Another Earth, and Her all have these sci-fi aspects to them, where they cross multiple genres. But these sci-fi aspects are used as a tool for storytelling rather than the main focus of the film. So it also discusses how we grow as people, and how we change, and that's actually a huge theme throughout the film, because I will say this is how both Theodore's relationships end, is through the change of the person that he's with, and how he remains somewhat stagnant. Not to say anything bad about the character, though. But yeah, so that's my number one favorite movie. We're way over on time here, so I will go ahead and thank everybody for coming on the podcast. Kenzie, thank you so much. Haley, thank you so much for
You're very welcome.
co-hosting with me. Dominic, thank you so much for being a guest on the podcast today. We love having you. Look forward to having you again.
Have me back when we talk about politics.
Oh, absolutely. we'll definitely
Discuss some eugenics.
Yeah, Kenzie's got her.
I'm waiting.
Her itchy trigger finger on the eugenics. But thank you everybody for listening this long. I just want to thank everybody for Implying We Can Discuss Live. Stay active. If you guys would go and subscribe to our YouTube page, Implying We Can Podcast. The same on our SoundCloud account, Implying We Can Podcast as well. We also just opened up a Patreon page, so if you would go and support this, I know I was talking about this with Haley and Dominic. This has gotten kind of expensive for me, but I love doing it, and I hope you guys love it as well. But again, thank you so much, and stay active, guys.